Hi guys, welcome back. Sports with Mono and Mono. I'm Jim and I'm here with my partner Steve. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Here we are on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, unprecedented doing a show on Christmas
Eve. I think it is. So, thanks for listening, and let's talk about what happened since our last broadcast a week ago.
Yep, in the NFL perhaps?
I would think so. We covered the Gerrit Cole signing last week. We led off with baseball, but, football is front and center.
Top of the sports world right now.
So what would you like to lead off with?
Okay, well, I'll jump in here. But of course, this segment sponsored by Coriano Trucking of West Haverstraw, New York, and loyal fan, and Merry Christmas to them and all their customers and so forth. NFL. I know you're a Cowboys fan, so let me just throw the knife across the table because, I'm a Giants guy and they've shitted the bed all year. I apologize for that, but they haven't done so well, and we'll talk about them in a minute, but I really thought you Cowboys were going to beat the Eagles on Sunday.
Well,
I really did.
Well, I'm glad you brought up my Dallas Cowboys. Once again, I think our audience knows my affinity for the Dallas Cowboys. However, I did not think they were going to win coming up to Philadelphia.
Really?
In fact, I bet against them.
Whew!
Listen, they're too dysfunctional as far as consistency, I guess. So it's the best thing I can say. Dak Prescott came in a little bit banged up. But the fact of the matter is Ezekiel Elliott and the vaunted offensive line, you're going to expect 120. That's the formula, right? The play action, Dak then, sets up the play action pass.
He still makes some big runs and stuff. I think he's awesome.
But the bottom line is, they don't give him the ball enough. I think Elliott literally had 13 carries. Amari Cooper, and I talked to a Cowboy fan and a loyal listener of our show.
Now they're claiming he's hurt, though. Is he hurt?
You know what? I'm going to claim he is hurt. I think Amari Cooper is a number one receiver. I do.
Do you?
Do I think he is Antonio Brown, Jerry Rice, super explosive?
Hines Ward, perhaps? Yeah.
Well, I just think he's a good receiver, and the Cowboys got to make a determination if they're going to re-sign him, and if they do, probably going to cost them $15 million. But the bottom line is, he's disappeared the last 6 weeks as a number one receiver.
We talked about him a while ago. I thought they gave up 2 number ones for him.
No, one number one.
One?
Which I'm still on board with. I really am.
All right, but
now Cooper's 26 years old. Okay?
But banged up, apparently.
There's other problems in Dallas. I'm not laying this at the feet of Amari Cooper.
Of course not. Absolutely not.
But the fact of the matter is Jason Garrett.
He's gone. He's got a week.
Right. So there's a sliver of hope, meaning the Eagles are now control their destiny. They come to the Meadowlands. Cowboys go to the nation's capital.
Where they win, because the Redskins are horrible.
I would think the Cowboys would win, so it's really a dice roll.
It's a good kind of segue into how the Giants and the Eagles and the Cowboys are all tied in Week 16 of the season and so forth. Which
in a week,
right?
Weak division.
The weakest, yeah.
Correct.
And now they get to go up against Daniel Jones. So how does he finish? His first rookie campaign. Does he finish it in a flourish? Right? He took a week off. They gave Eli the spotlight. Eli wins the game. Jones comes back, has a great game, throws 5 touchdown passes. And look, people are kind of feeling, hey, maybe he is the guy. He's had a rough campaign, and we know that.
But you know what? The kid
can he beat the Eagles in this kind of scenario?
I think the fact that they're home, nothing's a sure thing. Obviously, the Eagles are going to be heavily favored to win this with a lot to play for, the division.
But if they don't, and this is going to be the end for Carson Wentz kind of thing, because he's going to get some wrath from Philadelphia because he's been injured over the years. I like him. I think he's
still a
talented.
Young quarterback. He's not going anywhere.
I know, but he's gotten beat up for his first 4 or 5 years now. Yeah. 4th year, I guess.
Fourth year,
right?
But I want to go back to Daniel Jones.
Go ahead.
Hey. You know what? as bad as the Giants' season has been, and chances are Pat Shermer probably doesn't survive.
Will not survive.
Gettleman, I think, will survive.
Agreed. We're in 100%
But I got to
agreement.
tell you, again, we've been broadcasting since the NFL draft, and since you and I partnered together, and I questioned the number 6 overall pick, Daniel Jones. Do I still think it was a stretch? Yes, at number 6. However, you got to give this kid credit to have the performance that he had as a rookie quarterback.
Yep.
Uncharted territory. He's the first rookie quarterback to throw for 300 plus. If I remember correctly, I think it was like 340 and change. If I remember correctly, he was roughly 27 out of 45. And if I remember correctly, which I do, he had 5 touchdown passes
Yes, he did.
and no interceptions.
Yes, he did.
Now, granted, are the Washington Redskins not good this year? Yeah, but are they an NFL team? Yeah. So I got to say, you got to feel good about the Giants. Barkley having a
Great game.
a Barkley day.
He had a great game.
So-
That showed you what kind of talent this kid does have and how that was the right pick last year.
I think it's more just a reminder that how talented he is because the season has gone so bad, and he really hasn't gone on track.
And he looks like he's got a penchant for winning. He's got a great attitude, and he's been banged up, but
the
he
offensive
shined.
line obviously hasn't been.
Right, but he did it all on his own. His 190 yards on Sunday was him. He made some great moves.
Right, but the bottom line with the New York Giants is they got one game. And listen, wouldn't it be great if Daniel Jones could knock off? Now I'm being selfish here.
The Eagles.
I would love for Daniel Jones and the New York Giants to knock off the Philadelphia Eagles. Cowboys win in in the nation's capital, and the Cowboys make the playoffs. Are they going to make any noise? But you know what's so ridiculous?
They get a home game.
They get a home game.
Of course.
Right, and the Eagles actually get a home game. So the winner, of the division gets a home game.
Right.
So we'll see what happens, but I would say it's 99.999% Jason Garrett.
He's gone.
Will
He's
be
gone.
gone.
He's gone.
And on the New York Giants side, they have a lot of money. They got picks. They're obviously going to revamp the roster. But you know
And
what?
I heard
Daniel
this.
Jones and Saquon Barkley are 2 centerpieces going forward.
Yeah.
So we'll see how the Gettleman, shapes the roster going.
And I wanted to throw this out to a Cowboy fan. So let's assume, and I think it's a foregone conclusion that Pat Shermer's gone. So who
I don't
is
know
it?
now.
Is it McCarthy? Is it Rivera? Is it Jason Garrett? What do you think? I mean, are those the 3 leading candidates, or do you have somebody else? Mike Rule ruled himself out already. So,
I think if Pat Shermer beats the Philadelphia Eagles,
he keeps his job
I think there's a chance he does.
with that'll push him to like what, an 11-25 record is his college career record.
Listen, the big tuna in his first year was, if I remember correct, 3-13.
This is 3 years.
I understand that.
This
I
is
am
3
just
years.
saying they've invested in Shermer. He's a quarterback guy. Daniel Jones has obviously shown the development that I think the brass wants to see.
Okay.
I'm just saying if they beat the Eagles, I can see Shermer saving his job by his fingernails, right?
All right.
So to answer your question, should he get fired?
Yes.
No, Jason Garrett. I don't foresee the Giants hiring. Mike McCarthy just interviewed in Carolina, and I think the Carolina owner is all business. And I'm not saying McCarthy's going to go there. I think McCarthy's going to wait for the season to end and
Pick a couple other offers.
Yeah, I mean he'll take a look at multiple jobs, but I think Mike McCarthy will absolutely be in demand.
I'm a Mike McCarthy fan, so if he came to the Giants, I'd have no problem at all.
Absolutely.
At all.
So we'll see what happens there.
But what do you think from the Cowboys' perspective? I mean, if Jason Garrett does get thrown away, who do you think's going to? I told you, I still think Lincoln Riley is a possibility.
Well, a fellow Cowboy fan made a joke asking if Dave Campo was still available.
Very good.
So I can only hold out hope. But listen, you know the dynamic of the Dallas
Hey, maybe
Cowboys.
they'll consider bringing Ray Handley in for an interview. We're talking how ridiculous it is, right?
Now that Chan Gailey is,
83,
right,
Yankee
you know,
Bean.
and
You know.
got his legs again. Maybe
Right.
Chan can come in and shake things
Oh,
up.
God. That's what I thought happened to the Bills like 10 years ago when they had a new chance to turn it over like they did with Sean McDermott a couple of years ago.
Right.
They brought in Chan Gailey and it was Buffalo as usual kind of thing. So let's
I
talk
got
about
it. To answer your question, though, Jerry, again, the dynamic of the Dallas Cowboys is as long as Jerry Jones is still ticking and running the show, you're not going to get a supreme NFL coach that's going to want to have say over personnel, this, that, and the other thing. So you're basically going to get.
He's looking for what? Flash, front page news.
I really don't
they
have an
pulled
answer.
Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma. That's why I think it's a possibility.
Of course,
For
it's
that
a
very
possibility.
for that very reason.
But to be honest, I can't give you an answer right now. It would be pure speculation on my part. I really don't think there's any candidates. I think once Garrett is shown the door, and really, for our Cowboy fans, and I know we have, multiple out there like myself, Rod Marinelli's got to go. The guy was 97 years old 10 years ago.
Out of touch, perhaps.
Perhaps. Okay. So the other thing with the Cowboys was, they traded the pick we talked about for Cooper, and they take a defensive tackle in the second round. Just get Tristan Hill. Done nothing. DeMarcus Lawrence gets paid. Nothing.
Oh, they pay these guys a ton. But you want to hang that on Marinelli or the fact
No,
that
I'm not. I'm
two guys a week get arrested and the other guy's going injured reserve.
That's
and
what
it's
I'm
a dysfunctional family.
That's
as you
exactly
put it,
what I'm alluding to. That
Yep.
it's just year after year with these malcontents, and they take a flyer on this, that, and the other thing. But at the end of the day, the Cowboys will probably tender Dak Prescott. He's going to remain the Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback. I think Jason Witten.
course. I don't
needs to
think the
Witten
quarterback's
needs to
in jeopardy.
retire. I think the defense needs to be shored up. The secondary's terrible for the Cowboys, and we'll see what happens. But
All right. We covered
I could
them.
go on my Dallas Cowboys, but they are a huge disappointment. Huge.
Look, so has been the New York teams for the most part, except for some bright spots. And now, listen, let's just touch base on the Jets before we move on to some of the other teams in the league.
Sure.
Sam Darnold, right? All of a sudden now everybody's back in his camp. 6 weeks ago everyone says, yeah, maybe this wasn't the guy. And I said, he's not as bad as he's looked and he's not as good as he's looked. He's one of those middle-of-the-road guys. And now, all of a sudden the heat's been turned down on Adam Gase a little bit, right? They're 5-2 in their last 7 games.
Which is fine. I mean, the Jets are going to go into the off season. Gase is coming back. We talked about it. I think Sam Darnold, after his second year, is developing. He's had some ups and downs. You just talked about it. But they need to fill the cupboard with some, offensive power for this kid. But
Okay, well,
and
they
if
signed,
meaning
supposedly...
protect them.
Right,
Protect him.
but they signed supposedly one of the premier running backs in the league. He's had a horrible year, Le'Veon Bell. Horrible.
I wouldn't say it's hard.
And of course Jet fans will blame it on the offensive line, but I go, no, this guy sat out a year. He lost a step. Which brings me to the other thing about the Seahawks signed Marshawn Lynch.
What's wrong with that? They're banged up. They have literally no running backs.
Where did they run into him? Pete Carroll ran into him at Applebee's or something and said, "Hey, what are you doing?"
No, I'm sure they've been talking to him, and
he's been working out like a monster.
I would think so. They wouldn't sign him otherwise.
Steve, he didn't work out as a monster when he played. He was just good.
He's
He had
just
a lot of
that
raw talent. But signing him now down the stretch,
I am not shocked by that. In fact, I think a fresh Marshawn Lynch. But literally, Seattle is decimated at the running back position.
fresh Marshawn Lynch. I think that's an oxymoron. I mean, I don't know.
It is, and don't get me wrong. I don't think I would. ever in my wildest dreams say, welcome back, Marshawn Lynch.
Right, exactly. This is Russell Wilson's team here. I mean.
Right, but the fact of the matter is he's always been a Seattle Seahawk for the most part. He had a stint with the Raiders.
Oh, God, but he's probably been in Cabo for the past year, Sammy Hagar's bar.
What, in Ezekiel Elliott's old condo?
Yeah, but he actually came back in shape, though,
No, but I think that's the Seattle Seahawks have nothing to lose by signing him. We'll see if he produces. But again, I'll say it for the third time. They're decimated at the running back.
Okay. All right.
So, speaking of Seattle, so as we segue to what happened on Sunday, the Seattle Seahawks come up lame against the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay,
right?
so they're limping to the finish line.
Well, now it sets up a big showdown with the San Francisco 49ers. That's a big game.
Which we talked about last
week
time.
17.
Are they for real? Are they not? Are the Steelers for real? Are they not?
No,
But in the NFC,
Steelers are not for real. And you know why? Because they're just decimated at the quarterback position.
I think Tomlin still did a great job
I
coaching.
do too. I'm not knocking
I like him.
Listen, they came into the Meadowlands yesterday and
laid an egg.
yeah. Evelyn Hodges, okay.
Right, 3 weeks ago he was, the heir apparent to Ben, and and then he got kicked out, and then they bring Mason Rudolph in, threw a touchdown pass, and then gets knocked out of the game, and then bring the Duck back in, quack, quack, quack.
Right.
Nothing happens.
So the Duck, I've seen enough. Quack, quack, quack.
Really? Have you seen enough?
I
You
have
give him
seen
3
enough.
games, 4
Yeah,
games,
yes,
whatever?
Yes,
Okay.
I have.
All right.
So the fact of the matter is the Steelers,
Yeah,
it's a game they should have won.
Of course.
But they didn't show up.
They did not show up.
And now they're in a position where they just might not make it.
Right.
So, the other news is the Baltimore Ravens secure the #1 seed. I don't think anybody's surprised by that. And I think...
So that sets up a New England Ravens championship game in Baltimore instead of New England in the snow, right? I guess. Right?
Well, it can snow in Baltimore, but the fact of the matter is you never want New England to be hosting that championship game.
That's right.
And we saw a little crack in the armor last year at Kansas City, even though they won the Super Bowl. Not diminishing that whatsoever. But I think Lamar Jackson, being a young, athletic quarterback who is, I think, has cemented the MVP.
Oh, there's no question about it. He's had
Right.
a great year,
But I'm happy the fact that Baltimore secured that. I'm tired of the Patriots. And, we can segue to the Patriots-Bills.
I don't know why
The matter
people,
is the Patriots just won their 11th consecutive division championship.
because they're good.
They're
Because
that
they're
good and the division's that bad.
And
But-
listen, Professor Belichick is at work already knowing he's playing the Ravens in the championship game on the road for the first time. So those wheels are turning to figure
Right,
out how
the-
to stop this guy.
Right, the video guys are down in Baltimore.
Yeah.
filming everything.
Yeah, right.
But nobody knows that.
Right, he's subcontracting the NFL films.
It's within the framework of the.
Can you see what Lamar Jackson eats during the day? That kind of shit. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, so
So other stories around the NFL yesterday. Were you surprised by this? I know I wasn't. The Cleveland Browns lost
I'm not
to the
surprised.
Ravens. And apparently there was like a confrontation for 25 seconds.
Oh,
on the
with
sideline.
OBJ
Right.
in the kitchen?
And in the kitchen with Freddie Kitchens. I must say I was stunned by OBJ's demeanor, number one.
You know what?
The fact that it's about me and how, oh my God.
And that
that's
Gettleman-
exactly why the New York Giants traded.
You know what? That's why Shermer goes and Gettleman stays. He made that call and said, this guy is cancer. He wants to be traded out of Cleveland. Go ahead. He's going down the Antonio Brown highway. Like, who needs this thing in the locker room?
Not
the Terrell
I.
Owens, the whole thing. Talent, no question. Locker room influence, horrendous.
Correct.
Physical appearance on the field, behavior, horrible.
Yeah.
Right, good call. I'm glad you brought that up.
We're not OBJ guys here. And again, we don't discount this guy as supremely talented.
Unbelievably
but
talented.
he's just not worth the
Yeah, there's too much baggage there.
the Kardashian baggage or the
That's right.
type of thing on that.
All right, so look, we're down to the last week of the season. You know, tables have turned. You know, I think the Bills missed a good opportunity to prove that they were real. You know, they went to New England and
Well,
just couldn't
what did
pull it
you
off.
think going in? I had the Patriots here.
I did too. I did too. I'm not discounting Tom Brady and the Patriots. I won't bet against them and make that mistake
Either will I.
again.
But I will say, I think the tide has turned. I think the Buffalo Bills in the next two to 3 years, because of Josh Allen and their young talent. And
But didn't we think that about the Rams last year that went to the Super Bowl this year? They're not making the playoffs.
Right.
They're out of the playoffs.
But I just wanted to finish on the Bills. That I think once Brady retires, and I'm not saying he's going to, but I think this year you could actually see
A changing of the guard,
a
I
little
guess.
42-year-old play here, right? He struggled. Now, granted, his receiving core has been decimated all year, but poor baby, nobody's given him any sympathy.
Of course. No.
I'm just stating a
Doesn't
fact.
want any.
I'm
You
just
know?
stating a fact that you can see Tom Brady's 42 years old and may actually be mortal after all.
But they are the only team that could beat the Baltimore Ravens from going to the
True.
Super Bowl in the AFC. And I think the clear-cut favorite for me, and I wanted to ask you this, in the NFC, the New Orleans Saints.
I'm
And
glad
you were right. You signed. I told you. I said this guy Thomas is holding out after 2 seasons.
Yeah,
He's phenomenal.
he's the
Breaks
top.
the single-season reception record, and you were right. Well
Yeah.
done.
No,
I didn't discount that he was a talented player, but for that kind of money, he earned it. There's a story.
I
right?
did a little research on him. So the Saints drafted him out of Ohio State. Now, did he come out of Ohio State?
As a glowing,
Chris Carter, Joey Galloway,
Anthony- yeah, no,
type of
no.
thing,
Yep,
right? No, but you know what he is? The guy works hard, and I actually read a quote this week about him. He takes every practice rep like he's playing in the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and you're seeing it on the field. So he breaks Marvin Harrison's record, which stood for 17 years, which is an awful lot of receptions, by the way. 145, I think it was.
Was it Marvin Harris's record?
Oh, absolutely,
It
Marvin
was.
Harrison's record. But guess what? He's got a game to go, and you can bet the farm that Michael Thomas will probably play, I don't know, maybe a half or something. I don't think the Saints really have anything to play for. I think the seedings are pretty much cemented for the Saints at least.
Right.
But yeah, he's a great ball player.
Awesome. I
The
love
Saint-
watching him.
You know, that was a great game yesterday. Saints went down to Tennessee. Tennessee has a lot to play for. Tennessee's still in the hunt. They most likely will probably get a wild card. But don't discount the New Orleans Saints. Just don't discount the New Orleans Saints.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think
Yeah.
they're the clear-cut favorite. I like them.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Oh, for the Super Bowl?
No, I'm saying I put them as my favorite in the NFC to make the Super Bowl. The best team in the NFC. Like I do.
Okay, to go to the Super Bowl. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, we'll see. There's the Green Bay. I don't discount Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. You know that.
Well, Green Bay clinches yesterday.
Oh, man, they beat up the Vikings.
And, Kirk Cousins. Listen, earlier in the week, I was all in on the Vikings, but it turned out Dalvin Cook was hurt. I also saw a fascinating stat. Kirk Cousins has never won a Monday night game.
He's 0-9.
Right.
That's quite a
That's quite a jinx.
quite a bag of rocks to carry.
A bag of
around.
rocks.
You know?
That's a good way to say it.
So
So the Vikings, they secured definitely.
they're going to probably get a wild card.
No,
in
not
the
probably.
fight.
They clinched it. So Green Bay clinches the division. So I got time to think about it more. Who do I think is going to represent the NFC? It's not going to be the L.A. Rams, and I wanted to segue to that. Our boy Jared Goff, and I tell you,
He had a tough year. Let's
I've
put
been
it that
talking
way.
to a lot of people, and I tell you what, I see some regression myself. I'm a little concerned. What are your thoughts
I've told you, you know my thoughts. I like this kid. I saw the most development of any quarterback from one season to another, and yes, he has regressed. I'm not ready to sign him off yet. I actually like him. And they paid him, but you're right. He's won more than Carson Wentz has, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's got bigger numbers than Carson Wentz, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
they were the 1-2 punch in the draft. We'll see though. You can't write off 1 year. Yes, Super Bowl 1 year, don't make the playoffs the next. That's a tough pill to
My
swallow.
concern is in the Super Bowl, you saw deer in the headlights, and now we're seeing a full year of regression. He threw a ton of interceptions.
And you don't think he can overcome this? And deer in the headlights is a good analogy for the Super Bowl. Because, yeah, he
I'm not saying he
looked a
can't.
little timid. He looked Bambi-like, I guess.
Not a
but-
little timid. Bambi-like is a lot timid.
I know.
But the fact of the matter is the Rams, the defending NFC champs, are out. And just wanted to throw that out there.
All right.
That Jared Goff is.
Oh,
is
you
gonna
throw
have to
you
pick
throw
up
this
his
zinger
game.
to me over and over again. I know your partner from Pick Dogs is
He is the biggest.
anti-Jared Goff guy.
Not
in the
anti,
league.
the biggest anti.
Okay.
And
Where was he last year when he took his team to the Super Bowl?
Well, but I think pretty much, coming up to this weekend, we'll see. It's the last weekend of the season.
And then we'll do our playoff preview show, and we'll talk
Absolutely.
about it.
Absolutely.
So this has been our prime focus. It's
And then
worth
I
talking
would
about.
say the other notable note before we wrap up the NFL, J.J. Watt. So J.J. Watt, got hurt, 8 weeks ago, something like that. Definitely, quote unquote, out for the season. And he's
Coming back.
He's coming back. So Houston Texans got to be happy about that. Now he may last, 3 plays. Oh,
Exactly. Exactly.
But
That's
you know
what I'm
what?
worried about.
But J.J. Watt is one of the
classy.
good guys.
No
in the
question about it. Represents the NFL and humanitarianism and all that perfectly.
Sports with mono and mono love J.J.
We do. And his brother's a stud too in
Absolutely.
Pittsburgh.
T.J. Watt out of Wisconsin,
Yeah.
no doubt.
But I actually didn't know. I actually saw that and I said, I thought he was out for the year. So this guy wants to play. He's biting to play, but he's been battling injuries, but he's a stud when he's on the field and he's healthy. I just don't know if he could be healthy
He
again.
most certainly is. And then, again, a lot happened this weekend. So I'd like to bring up the fact of, late April, May, the number 1 pick, the Bengals go down to the Miami Dolphins.
No question they take Burrow, right? I mean,
Right, but I want to talk about the game. The fact of the matter is the Dolphins were up 14-0, this, that, and the other thing. Blah, blah, beep, blah, beep, da, blah. They're up now 31 this, beep, blah, blah. But you know what? The Bengals fought. I think this game went to overtime, did it not? Like 38-35, something like that. But you know what? At the end of the day, the Bengals got the number 1 pick.
right.
But I don't think it was. I'll give them credit for trying.
You think so?
I do.
You think they were going to blow this opportunity to finally bring somebody in to replace Andy Dalton, who, by the way, became the all-time Bengals leader in passing and touchdown? Passing, of course, who we know.
Our idol Ken Anderson,
Right. Sunoco, NFL
number
stamp book.
14, Ken Anderson,
Yeah.
great quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals in the 70s.
Right.
My
Mustache like Magnum PI back
Oh,
then.
absolutely. So the fact of the matter is, Joe Burrow was actually from Ohio,
Oh, he's going to Cincinnati.
but he's from Ohio.
Yeah, I know.
So I think that's a good feel-good story, and you can bet the farm the Bengals are going to take him, or the Bengals are going to get an offer from a team, and may trade down.
I didn't trade Joe Mixon in the deal for a 6-pack
I
of
don't know
beer
what
or
they're going to
something.
do, but when you get the number 1 pick, you entertain a hell of a lot of offers. But I got to think, because Dalton, obviously, the Dalton era is over.
Yeah, we've seen this movie.
But you know what, Andy Dalton, and I think we've alluded to this. You think he stinks? I don't think he's the worst quarterback
I'm not
I've
saying
ever
he
seen.
stinks. I'm saying if you got a big game, you're not betting on Andy Dalton to win it. That's what I'm saying.
You're not.
And he's the all he passed Ken Anderson. Ken Anderson was a very good quarterback in that league, and he played against some tough teams week after week, right?
Yeah. So I just wanted to say that. So as of right now, when we wrap up the NFL, the Bengals, I think it's a lock, number one. Depending on how Week 17 transpires, Skins, Lions, Giants, Dolphins. Jets are looking at like number 10 now, which is fine.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. I think we covered the NFL. We'll see how it transpires Week 17.
All right, but I look forward to
And
doing
then
our
we'll
playoff preview show coming up next week. you know?
Absolutely.
So we'll unwrap this all and see who lands where. And
Any questions about the NFL? Any disputes? Any comments?
we'd
Feedback?
love to hear from
We
you.
love to hear from it. Sports with mono and mono at gmail.com.
Yeah. So let's move on. And our college football segment is sponsored by Lynch Motors of Manchester, Connecticut. And we thank them and wish them and all their customers a very Merry Christmas. So listen, it's a little light, and we're going to lump this in with our NFL preview show probably next week. But we know the big games that are coming up, right? Clemson and so forth. But there's been a lot of little games. You know, the Weed Eater, the Poland Weed Eater Bowl, or whatever ridiculous thing you want to make up.
Of course.
Some good teams.
Yeah. I mean, as we're broadcasting, there haven't been any really sexy games. The bowl season kicked off Buffalo versus Charlotte. Okay.
Exactly.
You got Utah State, Kent State.
I mean, these are games you watch if there's no reruns of Seinfeld on, I guess. Right?
Right. These for our football lovers, but we watch them, and again, you give credit to a small program. You got to get 6 wins to make a bowl game, so that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
But let's cut to the chase here.
There's 4 teams left, and that's what we're talking about.
What are you thinking right now, even 10 days out before the semis?
Doesn't change my mind.
And
I'm still with Clemson. Look to blow out Oklahoma.
No, Clemson is going to blow out Ohio State.
Excuse me, Ohio State. And I'm not wavering from that. I like Ohio State, and I've been a Justin Fields guy all year. You know that.
LSU is going to take care of business with Oklahoma.
I think it's going to be the matchup we expect to see. Clemson and LSU. That's what we want to see, and that's what we'll...
I think they're the 2 best teams, and,
Yep.
and we shall see. But outside of that, we should broadcast, prior to the
Yeah,
New Year's Day.
we'll take the news about what guy's sitting out and he's not playing, and that changes the odds, and DraftKings and FanDuel change the point spreads, and everyone flocks to the racetrack to place their bets on a game.
We shall see. But the big game Saturday, of course, is Notre Dame versus Iowa State.
Huge.
In the
Huge.
Blue Bonnet Bowl or something.
Oh, God, we used to love the Blue Bonnet Bowl back then. We never missed it, right? There was something Blue Bonnet Bowl. There was some moniker Blue Bonnet
And where
Bowl.
was the Blue Bonnet Bowl played, James?
Oh, good. Yeah, Texas somewhere.
Was it a dome stadium of some
The
sort?
Blue Bonnet Bowl.
Love you, Blue, give you
Houston, perhaps, huh?
Could be the Astrodome of some sort.
Houston Oilers. Remember that song? That was
The
great.
Blue Bonnet Bowl.
And why did Bum Phillips not wear a hat in the Astrodome?
I would think his mama probably told him that was...
You don't wear a hat indoors.
You
That's
don't wear a hat
exactly why.
indoors.
I hope some of our fans know that. That's an obscure little fact.
You
but
know
it's
what?
true.
I would love for our fans to give me an answer to this question. How did Bum Phillips even become an NFL head coach?
Right, for more than 6 weeks. Because he had a good crash, and he had Earl Campbell on his team. That's why.
If I had Earl Campbell at 13 years old,
Yeah.
trust me, I would have the same record as the Bum Phillips. O.A. Bum Phillips, by the way.
Exactly. But listen, we covered football and stuff, but just before, Steve, we sign off on this football thing. You know, we've seen some great footage from, I think NFL Network is doing the 100 greatest players of all time and so forth.
I may have heard of something
And
like
I
that.
can't wait to see some of the footage of this because it's going to be just as cool as the footage from ESPN's 150 years of college
course.
football.
Yes.
Seen some highlights that were just, you know, bringing us back to the days.
Memories.
It was great.
I can do a better Elvis, folks, but
Yeah.
memories.
It was great, though, and I can't wait to see this come out. And we're gonna have some comments on it. Going,
Well, it's
him? You kidding me?
No, it's,
Him? Of course.
no,
You know that kind of thing.
It's pretty much done, but we can't cover that during the winter months because that's, you know, obviously subject to debate. But
Yep.
there's just so many names that are locks that you,
Of course.
you know, but then you know. So the way they're
But
doing
they're
it-
gonna miss some, and there's gonna be out of that 100, there's gonna be 10. We're going. You're kidding me? You know, him over this guy, and we'll bring it up because we know. Like
That's
I said,
true.
we had the Sunoco football stamp book. We
It's
know.
all subjective to the. But I like the fact that Bill Belichick is really he's been in the round table here, and I mean,
I value his
You know
opinion
what?
quite extensively, actually.
you know, we're in our 50s now, and Vince Lombardi was the standard bearer, obviously, of the greatest coach in NFL history. But you really have to give the moniker to Bill Belichick. You know, that's
Certainly the
that's
modern day era.
That's
you
a
know.
debate for another day. But I love the fact that if Bill Belichick is signing off on this guy is one of the top 100 players. in
Oh,
the
then I'm
NFL,
all in. Well,
I got
neither you and I can come up with a reason to dispute it.
It has some influence.
Yep.
I'll leave it at that.
Yep. So listen, we covered a lot of stuff. This is primarily football and 100% football. And before we sign off and so forth, I just want to say, you know, thanks to our third sponsor, Di Filippi's Bakery of Monticello, New York.
Who is busy
Oh.
here on Christmas Eve.
You think Santa Claus is busy, you know,
Oh,
try to
yeah.
own a bakery.
Absolutely.
You know.
Take a number, folks. Nah, but we appreciate the Filippi's, their sponsorship and always,
Yep.
you know, touting sports with Mono and Mono. Thanks, Carmela, and thanks to the whole staff at the Filippi's. We really appreciate it.
We do.
Any baseball you want to talk about?
No, I think we're going to leave this as a football thing and
I
see
wa-
what
I wanted
happens
to
in
mention
baseball.
one thing
Unless
about-
there's one thing that has to. Babe Ruth wore
No,
number 4.
No, you know what? It's kind of close to that. It's, you know, we talked about the Hall of Fame announcement a couple weeks back. Ted Simmons
Yeah, we talked
finally
about
making it.
We talked about it.
And I'm just confirming. What hat would you think Ted Simmons was going to wear into the Hall of Fame?
I think he would wear a Cardinals hat.
That is correct. Good answer. And I think that's apropos.
But we saw him in his early days as a Brewer, right? I mean,
Well, no, Cardinals always, and then he went to the Brewers.
right. Okay, but I'm saying he's going to definitely.
But we have a listener out of St. Louis who wanted to make a point about that how happy he was that Ted Simmons is going to wear a Cardinals hat going into the Hall of Fame.
But I thought they took that away. Doesn't the committee make the decision
No,
now
I
on
think,
that?
I think it's still up to the individual.
I think it may
has to
not
up
be.
to the individual.
I'm not sure.
This is not George Orwell's Big Brother 1984.
Do
to that.
do. Hey, but listen, thanks for joining us. And you know, before we sign off on our football show, we want to wish all our fans and supporters a very Merry Christmas. It's a very special time of the year, and you've been our loyalty, you know, that we have to our fans is just as prominent as the loyalty you guys have to us, and we thank you guys very, very much.
Absolutely, and I would just like to say I'm honored to, you know, for our audience to listen to us. You know, Jim and I started this, you know, roughly a year ago, and again, this has always been a passion of ours, and we appreciate the audience. And I wanted to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Thanks for your loyal support, your feedback, and as we enter a new decade.
Yeah, well, I was,
Literally a new
I was
decade.
going to say we may sneak in a show before 2020,
But
which is
just going forward, so we broadcast once a week, and I think you're gonna be happy to hear that we'll probably step up the pace here and do more shows. And as we build this, we can only build it with audience participation and following,
and the support and
and we appreciate
input
it.
you guys give us. We love it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so Merry Christmas to everybody. All right. The
Sign
show-
off with a ho ho ho. Before we say comments and questions. And hey, if you want to wish us a Merry Christmas, send us an email. sportswithmonoandmono@gmail.
Who doesn't love to get a Merry Christmas every now
Oh,
and
look
then?
what somebody just said. Yeah, it's great.
But really, find us on SoundCloud, YouTube. I actually had a couple listeners saying, "Hey, Steve, how come you haven't texted the show? Did you guys do the show?" Always find us on SoundCloud, and all you got to hit is follow.
And YouTube.
And
Yep.
any thumbs up really helps as well. So we appreciate the loyal listening. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody.
Yep.
And we'll catch you next week.
Enjoy your time with your families.
Any questions, comments, and Merry Christmases to us?
We look forward to it.
Sports with Mono and mono@gmail.com.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy your holiday, and we'll talk to you within the week.
You got it.
All right. Bye.
Take care.